The popularity of Bernie Sanders, and more importantly, the policy of Medicare for all, is now wreaking havoc on health insurance company stocks, according to Bloomberg. So now, great. So now investors, apparently, according to Bloomberg, are growing increasingly fearful that single payer could eventually become a reality. They said together the shares of hospitals insurers had lost $28 billion in market value on Tuesday. The slide in hospital and insurance stocks continued Wednesday, wiping out billions of dollars more in market value from some of the biggest health insurance companies in the U.S. Now, interestingly enough, they said they're the biggest health companies. No, let's be honest. Health insurance companies have nothing to do with health. Zero to do with health. They are a middleman. So let's be honest with that. But as far as them losing this all this money in investment, let me get my tiny violin, the tiniest in the world. I know. Kev, what are you doing? You're actually making fun of companies for losing money. You're goddamn right. When it comes to health insurance companies, they're completely unnecessary. We don't need them. They're in fact a middleman with no purpose. We need a single-payer system. Now, upon hearing the news, Robert Reich, now that's somebody that I don't always agree with on with everything, but generally he's a good progressive. He argued that this is a great sign that Medicare for All is now considered real. Quote, current free fall in health insurance stocks, Anthem United Health, Centene, Humana, marks beginning of end for for-profit health insurance business model of seeking healthy people and avoiding sick people. This is him tweeting that out. And to that I say, yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So they are shook to the core about what this means. Now, Medicare for All would, for all intents and purposes, destroy the health insurance industry by making it illegal for private insurance to cover anything that Medicare for All would. So now, health insurance companies could still exist under a Medicare for All system, but they wouldn't be allowed to cover anything outside of elective surgeries, right? And so things like plastic surgeries, etc., anything that's not covered by Medicare for All, by our single payer plan. Okay. Hey, that's fair. So that's great. People get to keep their doctor. They avoid paying copays and deductibles. And they'll actually be able to do it cheaper because Medicare has such a small overhead as it is. What you're doing is you're taking the existing system and you're expanding it out to everybody. And so it has that same low overhead, which is much, much, much less than the overhead and bloat that you have inside of for-profit health insurance companies. Again, you have executive bonuses, you have advertising costs, etc., right? And a fiduciary responsibility to keep prices high in order to attract investors as well as compensate the board, right? So now, National Nurses United had tweeted this. Insurance industry stocks dropping as the Medicare for All movement heats up. We've got some serious people power on our hands. And it's true because the majority of the American people, 70%, want a single-payer system. Now, these blood-sucking insurance companies, however, they're going to do everything in their power to deny claims and extract profits. And they are seeing the writing on the wall, and that's fantastic. So, but like any endangered industry, they're going to fight tooth and nail to stop this, and they're already starting. So far, they're getting their cronies in the establishment, especially in the Democratic primary right now, to push for Medicare for All, extra, whatever, right? And there's so many different plans that aren't actually Medicare for All. Basically, they're just glorified public option plans. Now, public option, it keeps private insurance around. Wait. No wonder private insurance companies are more in favor and are given to think tanks like the Center for American Progress in order to push the public option plan as a contender to Medicare for All. And of course, they also lie about Medicare for All in what it would do, who it would cover, etc., and the costs. Now, the right wing, of course, the right wing doesn't want to do anything on healthcare, so that's why I'm not really talking about them. What they want is to basically to go back to the bad old days where health insurance companies can continue to do anything that they want in pursuit of profit that includes making people die. Now, as far as mainly since this is a discussion that we're having on the left between this more centrist corporate wing of the Democratic Party and progressives who believe in Medicare for all and are pushing it, these corporate Democrats are spreading falsehoods. Like single payer will have worse care at a higher price. That's not at all true. They're calling it a government takeover of healthcare, which is a right-wing talking point. That's not true either. The insurance itself actually will be government funded, but it'll be different than the VA because the VA is actually government-run healthcare. So, and the VA has its own issues as well, and I think a lot of that is due to lack of funding, and a little bit of mismanagement. Single payer won't be that. It won't be government-run healthcare. It'll be government-sponsored insurance, which again we do already through Medicare. And so what will happen is more people, as it expands over a 4-year period, will begin to cover more and more people. Again, we already have the infrastructure for it, and I'm sure there will be challenges in being able to expand that market and add new benefits onto it, and to get doctors, of course, and hospitals to agree to, a certain price, whatever. But that stuff is, endemic in any change in the system, right? And there will be some disruption, but not really a disruption on your side for getting your benefits. Now, the other thing that they talk about is, if you get rid of private insurance, what happens to all those jobs in private insurance? Okay, well, some people will lose work, right? People who mainly deal in private insurance billing and collections, etc., right? But the Sanders bill, I think, and the Jayapal bill, make sure that they help transition people into different careers coming from the insurance industry. We're not leaving those people alone. This is not like, too bad, so sad, you're losing your job, and that's it, we're not going to help you. No, we are going to help you, and we're going to make sure that we find you an equivalent job to what you have. And so the other thing, and we've heard this for quite some time, is that, you know what? It's going to take away healthcare for people in the transition. Wait, what? Yes, that's actually coming from Democrats that are saying this. Chelsea Clinton had said this back in 2016. Medicare for all, it means you're going to lose your insurance. But it's going to be replaced with something else, with something that's better and cheaper. It's also going to raise your taxes, but then you won't have to pay premiums, copays, or deductibles. So it's also a net savings. So that's all the stuff, right? That they're pulling out every single trick in the book to basically stop us from putting an end to the gravy train. And as you can see right now from the stocks and how they've reacted to the news from Medicare for All and Bernie Sanders explaining to 2.5 million people how it would work and how it would be a better system, expect the attacks to continue. Because right now, the health insurance companies are shook. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.